Hey everyone, what's going on? Today we're talking about a topic that sparks more arguments than a group ride deciding where to stop for lunch. Chinese motorcycles. Love them, hate them, call them disposable, but they're selling like hotcakes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Am I really about to give a nod of approval to one of these wallet-friendly machines? Well, here's the deal. A whole bunch of you are going to buy one anyway. So instead of wagging my finger and telling you not to, I'm going to steer you towards the ones you probably won't regret buying. There was a time when spotting a Chinese-made motorcycle in the wild was like seeing a sushi stand at a gas station. Approach with caution. Back then, most of them were shameless knockoffs of beloved European and American motorcycles, right down to the misspelled badges. But fast forward to today, and things have taken a surprising turn. Believe it or not, some of these bikes are actually good. Wild, right? Brands like CFMoto and QJMotor are cranking out bikes that aren't just cheap knockoffs. They're legitimately challenging American and European manufacturers. We're talking about the most powerful $10,000 sports bike, the most bang for your buck cruiser under $5,000, and even the most affordable bagger in the US, all proudly made in China. So maybe, just maybe, it's time to give these bikes the credit they deserve. Now, before we get into it, just a quick timeout, guys. If you've enjoyed the content so far, could you take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel? Over 98% of viewers watch these videos without subscribing. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it's a huge help for me in growing my channel. Thanks! Now, kicking off the list at number 10 is a certified head turner, the CFMoto 675 SS. Now, if you know your motorcycle history, you'll remember how Japan's Big Four flipped the industry on its head in the 70s. Their strategy? Simple. More bike for less money, leaving the old school manufacturers scrambling to keep up. Fast forward to today, and China's motorcycle makers are taking a page straight out of that playbook. Leading the charge, CFMoto. And the 675 SS? This thing is an absolute weapon. It's one of the most unhinged middleweight sports bikes on the market, and the price tag makes it even crazier. Right now, it's the most powerful sports bike you can snag for under $10,000, beating out heavy hitters like the Aprilia RS 660, Yamaha R7, and even Triumph's new Daytona 660. Powering this beast is CFMoto's first ever inline triple, a screamer that peaks at 11,000 RPM, but the red line stretches all the way to 12,300 RPM. And if that doesn't hint at some untapped potential, I don't know what does. Now, let's talk numbers, because that's where things get really interesting. The 675 SS cranks out a claimed 95 horsepower and 52 foot-pounds of torque, nearly doubling the output of CFMotor's older twin-cylinder engines. Not too shabby, right? That said, it's not quite over 100 horsepower. CFMoto was hyping up when they first unveiled the bare engine at the EICMA last year. But here's the thing, it's not even revving to its full potential yet. So who knows? There might even be more juice waiting to be unlocked down the road. The triple sends power through a slipper clutch to a standard 6-speed gearbox. No fancy, computer-controlled clutch wizardry like Honda's latest CBR 650R, but hey, at least you get an upshift-only quick shifter as standard. Not bad for a bike already punching way above its price bracket. For a sport bike that sneaks in under $8,000, the 675 SS comes packed with some seriously impressive tech. We're talking about ride modes, traction control, an upshift quick shifter, and an assist and slipper clutch, just to name a few. And CFMoto didn't cheap out on the suspension either. Up front, you got fully adjustable inverted forks turned by KYB, while the rear monoshock lets you tweak preload and rebound to dial in your ride. Bottom line, the thing is punching way above its weight class, and for the price, it's an absolute steal. Next up at number 9, we've got the Moto Morini X-Cape 650, one of the sharpest looking middleweight adventure bikes you might not know about. Even though it's been on the market since 2022, it's only recently made its way to the US, and trust me, this thing is ready to give the Yamaha Tenere 700 a ride for its money. The 649cc parallel twin engine might look familiar if you ever laid eyes on the Kawasaki ER6N, because there's no coincidence. The X-Cape's engine is a Kawasaki licensed CFMoto built unit. So yeah, you can expect a bit of that Japanese reliability all wrapped up in a sharp Italian design. When it comes to suspension, the X-Cape is ready to take you anywhere with some seriously beefy 50mm Marzocchi inverted forks up front and a KYB rear monoshock. As for tech, it's got everything you could ask for, starting with a massive 7-inch TFT display that practically takes over the cockpit. There's switchable ABS, a tire pressure monitoring system, a hand-adjustable windscreen with 2 settings, and even a 3-position adjustable handlebar. And honestly, I'm a bit giddy about all the thoughtful touches on this bike. Take the seat, for example. Moto Morini nailed the standing ergonomics with smart knee padding. Too many bikes have sharp plastics or frame bits that jab into your knees while you're standing. But the X-Cape, it's pure comfort. The side pads integrated into the seat make standing up feel natural. And when you remove the thick rubber peg inserts, you've got a solid, dirt-ready platform to lock into. All this for around $8,000? Yeah, this bike is a steal. Up at number 8, we've got the Benelli TRK 702. I'll admit, up until a month ago, I thought adventure bikes were for those of us who either had a red cape or an arc reactor for a heart. But that all changed when I borrowed a buddy's TRK 702 while on holiday. I started thinking, maybe adventure bikes aren't just for superhumans. Now this bike looks pretty imposing at first glance. The big fuel tank, the beak-like fender, and that chunky upswept exhaust make it seem like a much larger bike than it actually is. Benelli has a real knack for these deceptively beefy designs, so it can be a little intimidating to look at. Underneath all that tough guy exterior though, it's a 698cc twin-cylinder engine pushing out a solid 68 horsepower and 70 Newton meters of torque. Turn on the ignition and the motor gives a nice, throaty rumble that's music to your ears. What really won me over though is how effortlessly the engine pulls. With a ton of low-end torque, the TRK 702 feels sprightly and eager, making it a joy to ride. Benelli might have Italian roots, but these days they're owned and run by the Chinese, and it's hard to miss that influence when you look at the new range of bikes. They're bringing some serious value to the table, and the TRK 702 is a prime example. This adventure tourer comes powered with a parallel twin engine cranking out 70 horsepower, and the price? Just $78.99. Compare that to the 60 horsepower Moto Morini X-Cape above, which costs more, and you'll see what I mean. The TRK 702 rolls out 17-inch wheels front and rear, making it more road-focused, but Benelli doesn't stop there. For those who want to get dirtier, there's the TRK 702X, a more rugged version with 19/17-inch spoke wheels wrapped in Pirelli Scorpion STR tires, plus extra suspension travel for better off-road capability. Now, I won't sugarcoat it, the build quality and finish could use a little polish to really elevate the TRK 702, but when you consider what you're getting for the price, this bike is hard to beat. Next up at 7, we've got the QJMotor SRK 700, a street fighter that's been flying under the radar. But trust me, this bike means business. Sure, it's still a fairly new model, so we'll have to wait and see how it holds up long term in terms of reliability and efficiency. But on paper, this angry-looking parallel twin is all kinds of serious. The SRK 700 packs a liquid-cooled 698cc parallel twin engine that delivers 73.4 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 67 Newton meters of torque at 6,000 RPM. Plenty of grunt for a naked sports bike. QJMotor also claims the SRK 700 is both a powerhouse and fuel efficient, thanks to its electronic fuel injection system. And let's not forget that racing-style 2-in-1 exhaust system, complete with a rear silencer that not only gives the bike a mean sound, but also helps lower its center of gravity. Oh, and it's got a 15-liter fuel tank, so you'll be able to ride for a good while before looking for your next fill-up. Now, the one downside? It's a bit on the heavier side. But when you consider the price, this thing is a bargain. To put it in perspective, the 2025 Yamaha MT-07 is almost $1,500 more expensive, and the SRK 700 is just as powerful. This urban-ready street fighter gives you peak power and torque early on in the rev range, at 8,750 RPM and 6,250 RPM respectively. Number 6 on the list is the Moto Morini SCR CFMoto, a scrambler that might not be a household name here in the States, but trust me, it's one to watch. Moto Morini sticks with the same 649cc parallel twin engine from the X-Cape for this beauty. And let me tell you, it's a smooth operator. The EFI fueling is nearly flawless, and there's plenty of power to make those overtaking moves with ease. If you're feeling a bit daring, the torque's got enough punch to lift the front wheel off the ground. But what really sets this scrambler apart is how effortlessly it blends on-road performance with off-road capabilities. We're talking spoked wheels wrapped in Pirelli MT60 tires, high-set front fenders, and a heavy-duty bash plate to make sure it's got gravel sliding cred. And let's not forget the tech. This thing comes with a stunning 5-inch color TFT display, giving you access to a host of tweakable features. Moto Morini really nailed the mix of style, performance, and versatility here. Now, let's move on to number 5, the Moto Morini Calibro 700 Bagger. This is the one that'll stop you in your tracks. The Calibro 700 is already a powerful cruiser under $8,000, but the Bagger version? That's where the magic happens. While the standard Calibro gets all the love, the Bagger version is the true road warrior. Ready for long hauls and weekend getaways. It keeps all the high-end features of the original, plus a batwing fairing and 2 lockable hard saddlebags for extra touring cred. These saddlebags together give you a combined 1.412 cubic feet of storage, perfect for packing up your gear and hitting the road. Overall, the Calibro 700 is an impressive Chinese-made machine that proudly holds the title of America's most affordable bagger. At just $5,999, it undercuts its competitors by a solid margin. $800 cheaper than the Honda Rebel 500, $1,900 less than the Kawasaki Vulcan S ABS, and a whopping $2,900 more affordable than the Yamaha Bolt R Spec 942. And here's the kicker. The Calibro 700 actually outperforms all of them in terms of power. The ride quality is a solid mix of great engine performance, but the suspension does leave a bit to be desired. The motor is sourced from Kawasaki's previous generation Ninja 650, which has now shed its previous issues, and in its 693cc form, it offers excellent performance. The front suspension is made up of 41mm forks with 4.7 inches of wheel travel, but there's no adjustability to be found, while the rear dual shocks give you 4 inches of rear wheel travel and preload adjustment. Now, if you push the Calibro fast, you'll almost forget about the suspension shortcomings, but that's not really the point of a cruiser like this. At a cruising pace though, the Calibro could definitely benefit from some higher grade suspension components. But as we all know, you can't get something for nothing, and any upgrade would only push the price up, which, let's be real, would take away from the Calibro's incredibly competitive pricing. Number 4 on the list is the CFMoto Ibex 450. This is the kind of adventure bike that's ready to tackle dunes and everything in between. Powered by the same engine as the CFMoto 450 SS, this bike flexes some serious muscle and showcases just how versatile the CFMoto parallel twin engine really is. The solid ADV setup starts with a chromoly steel tube frame and is suspended by long travel KYB inverted front forks and a linkage-type monoshock at the rear. The 21-inch front and 18-inch rear spoked wheels come wrapped in knobby, off-road ready tubeless tires, perfect for getting dirty off the beaten path. On the tech front, it's got a 5-inch curved TFT display with OTA update capability, making the Ibex 450 a serious contender against bikes like the KTM 390 Adventure. Under the hood, the 449cc parallel twin with a 270-degree crank offers 44 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 32.5 foot-pound of torque at 6,250 RPM. CFMoto's modified engine setup includes a dedicated camshaft design, an airbox, and an exhaust to enhance mid-range performance, giving the Ibex a punchy, short but peaky torque curve compared to the flatter power delivery of the 450 NK. Number 3 on the list is the CFMoto 450 CL-C. This lightweight cruiser combines modern performance with old-school styling, hence the C for cruiser and CL for classic. The 450 CL-C shares the same engine as the dune-bashing Ibex 450, though it's been retuned for a slightly more relaxed power output. Powered by a modern cooled parallel twin with dual balancer shafts and a 270-degree crank, it delivers 33 kW of power, which is slightly less than the Ibex 37 kW. This bike also ditches the typical chain drive for a belt final drive, adding a smooth and low-maintenance touch to your ride. Visually, the 450 CL-C nails the neo-retro cruiser look with chunky front forks and thick tires that give it a beefy, muscular presence. The minimalistic design language is carried out beautifully, with the fuel tank being the only real artistic flourish. All-around LED lighting gives the bike a sharp, modern edge. Inside the cockpit, you'll find a neat, circular 3.6 TFT display with old-school digital dials for that vintage feel. While the tech here is relatively basic, it still packs the essentials, including traction control, dual-channel ABS, and a slipper clutch. As for special features, The bobber is packed with little details that elevate its style, like the shiny fuel tank cap, classic round headlight, matte paint on the muffler and frame, and a leather seat with a pinstripe. Number 2 on the list is the CFMoto 450 SS. This bike is an absolute showstopper for an entry-level sports machine, and the price is just as impressive at just over $5K. That's only $1,000 more than the 300 SS, and for that extra grand, you get 158cc more displacement and an extra cylinder compared to the 292cc single-cylinder engine in the smaller model. Plus, the 450 comes with upgraded features like a Brembo front brake caliper, adjustable levers, a more informative and brighter TFT display, and other cool additions. For the price, the CFMoto 450 SS is loaded with top-spec features. Its sharp, aerodynamic design isn't just for looks. The fairing integrates elements to improve airflow and boost engine performance. At the heart of this bike is an exciting parallel twin engine that churns out 50 horsepower. This puts it in direct competition with bikes like the 51 horsepower Kawasaki Ninja 500, which just edges it out in terms of power. But don't let that fool you. This little pocket rocket is packed with premium elements, including a standard slipper clutch and traction control. The cockpit is equally impressive, featuring a 5-inch curved TFT screen with Bluetooth connectivity, a nice touch for tech-savvy riders. Taking the top spot is the QJMotor SRV 300, a budget-friendly V-twin cruiser and the most powerful of its kind under $5,000. Let's start with the design. If you take a close look at this bike, it's hard to deny that it looks like a love child of a Harley-Davidson Sportster and Iron 883, with a touch of V-Rod DNA thrown in the mix. The teardrop-shaped fuel tank, the rear fender design, and the LED headlight casing, all of these elements are reminiscent of the iconic Harley models. And the embossed brand name in the middle only adds to the resemblance. The real highlight of the SRV 300 is the cruiser experience, delivered by its tiny 296cc liquid-cooled V-twin engine that turns out over 30 horsepower. This gives you a near-perfect scaled-down old-school cruiser experience, looking like a shrunken-down Harley-Davidson Sportster Iron 883. Styling is where the SRV 300 truly shines, boasting a chunky 150-section rear tire, a peanut-shaped fuel tank, a sweeping single seat, and a 2-into-2 exhaust system. Definitely a lot of attitude for a 300cc cruiser. Until next time, ride safe, ride fast, and keep chasing the horizon. See you in the next video.